So I want to talk a little bit about the meeting settings when you're actually in the meeting. And I need to record this using a different solution so that you can see all of the settings that are available. So the first thing is the meeting information is now, it's been changed. It used to be on the lower left-hand side. It's now on the upper left-hand side under the little I here. That will give you information about the name of the meeting ID. You can send that ID when people are joining a meeting. Who's the host, and the URL and participant information. So on the lower left-hand side, you have the ability to change your mic. You can, to the right of that are your mic settings. So you could change to a different input if you choose, different output here, and so on. One other thing on the audio settings, you might test these. This is where you would test the mic or your speaker and so on. Same thing with the video. You can turn your video off. If you do that, then you're going to have an image that you uploaded, or you'll simply have your name here if you haven't uploaded an image. To the right of that, you have an ability to change the camera or video settings again. All those settings are here. And then we have security. Security has the option of locking a meeting. You might choose to do this if you have everyone in your meeting and you want to prevent anyone else from joining your meeting. Or if you do have uninvited guests, you would maybe lock the meeting and then remove them, and they cannot re-enter the meeting. So you might choose to do that. You can also, you'll see I have enabled a waiting room, and I'll show you how I'm using that in a moment. Share screen, you can give people permission here to share their screens. It is by default turned off, but you can turn it back on again, and then everyone can share their screen. It's off for the reason for the recent, what they call Zoom bombing, and this is where people log into your meeting uninvited and disrupt the meeting. So if they can't share their screen, it's not as much fun for them, so they might move on. Chat is turned on, the ability for people to rename themselves. You can turn that off if that's helpful, and then you can also remove participants from here. There's another way to do that as well, and we'll look at that right now in the participants window pane. And so what I have, here's myself as the host, me, and I can unmute myself, or basically I can edit my profile picture or rename myself. But this is my other me, and this is a guest. This is a person that's attempting to log into the meeting, and I've got that waiting room on. And because of that, I simply get this information that there's someone there. I can send that person a message. Everyone in the waiting room would get this message. Or I can simply admit them, which is what I'm going to do. And so here's my alter ego. Also, the mic is turned off because we don't need all that feedback. And I'm going to put this chat window down for just a minute. So you can see what happens in the participants window. In the participants window, here I am again, and here is my guest. And then in addition to being able to rename or whatever, we have the ability also to request that they start the video, make them a host or co-host, permit them to record, or put them in the waiting room where they were, or even remove them. So again, if you've locked the meeting and you remove them, they would not be able to re-enter. Under the chat screen, and we can just look at that for a moment so we don't have it confusing. In the chat screen, people simply can simply chat with everyone. You can change that. You can change it so that they can chat with no one, turn chat off, only chat with you or everyone publicly. And then Here is also where they could share a URL. And if you have it turned on, in my case I don't, you have the ability to share files from here as well. There's normally an upload piece in here. And then that permits people to share a file, or you to share a file. So I don't necessarily recommend that. I think maybe rather than taking a chance that people might share something that could have a virus or be malicious, you might simply link to your Google Drive and have some files there. If you have your students upload their files, or you want to share a file, you can link to it from there. Sharing your screen. When we share the screen, we have the option of your desktop, any other windows. So if you had Word open or PowerPoint, you might have that here. You have a whiteboard. The whiteboard, it has, we turn that on for a moment, has a number of features where you can annotate in that. Stop that share. And then to the right of your share screen, you can say who gets to share. Can I share? Multiple people can share simultaneously, which can be a little bit busy. And then I have it right now set for one person at a time. I also have it set so that only the host can share, but I could change that once I have everyone in the meeting that belongs in the meeting. So these are your settings for sharing. Polling is an option. You can simply launch the poll at any time. That poll pops in here, and then people can vote on that, and then end the poll. When you do, you'll see the results. So that's kind of nice too. Recording from here. You can also have your meeting set up so that it records automatically when you start. So if you're using it and you know you're going to be wanting to record it every time, when you set your meeting up, just simply make it so that it records. Breakout rooms are from here. We have one participant per room. If we had a number of participants, then we could say how many participants, how many rooms and how many participants we want. So 25 people, you might have 4 or 5 or 6 rooms that people can break out into. It'll do it randomly unless you assign them, which you also have the ability to do. And then reactions are just simply thumbs up, hooray, whatever, those kinds of things. And let's go back. I think actually, for the most part, that's what I wanted to show you. We do have a speaker view. So the person that's speaking shows up here, or the gallery view. And gallery view is what we were in when I started the meeting. Gallery view permits you to see everyone that's in the meeting at the same time. So that's basically the interface.